Coming up on our Finding Better podcast, one of the most amazing people I have ever met in my life. Adriana Cowdin is joining us, and she's going to share her journey and experiences in building business and building her career, in fighting through it all with 30 chronic diseases. She's a beautiful person. She's now an executive coach where she talks about helping people through crisis. And don't wait for a crisis to reinvent yourself. She's one of the most inspiring people I've ever met. And this is an episode that you're going to want to share with everybody. Here we go. Hello, 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 and welcome back to our Finding Better podcast. My name is John Suzuki, and I am your host. And this is where we share real life experiences. We don't share opinions, we don't share theories, we don't share academics. It's about real life lived experiences and wisdom of people who have been there and done that. Because, sometimes the best path to success is to follow in the footsteps of others. And today, I am thrilled. I have been working for months to get Adriana Cowdin on Finding Better, and I am thrilled to have her here. Adriana, welcome to Finding Better.
Thank you, thank you. And I apologize. It was so hard for us to find a date, but I'm excited to be here today.
Yeah, this is amazing. We're going to talk about all sorts of things, folks. We're going to talk about resilience. We're going to talk about Adriana's story. And this is one this is going to be the longest introduction I've ever done. And I'm gonna and I'm doing this because it is so interesting and so poignant to what we're going to be talking about. So listen up, folks. Adriana is the executive coach and author of the upcoming book, Stubborn as Fuck. Okay, so before you turn us off by being offended by the language, okay, the F bomb is F heart CK.
Yes,
Okay,
softens it up a
so
little.
what's that? Softened
It
it up a
softens it
little.
up. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. And in that book, she shares her real story behind her success while battling 13 chronic illnesses. Now, we all know that life's not fair. We all know that life sucks. But you know what? I don't know anybody who has battled through 13 chronic illnesses. And this is going to be amazing. But we're going to talk about living through hospitals and heartbreak and really the radical decision to stop pretending that she was fine,
Yeah.
right? We're going to explore what leadership looks like when you're on the edge and how high performers can stop white knuckling their lives and start rewriting their script. It's all about choices, folks, right? So we're going to talk about bold truths, practical takeaways, and a little bit of a dose of defiance. I'm going to continue. Adriana has built and sold a seven-figure digital marketing agency, having led high-performance teams and navigating life-altering medical trauma. Okay. Her story isn't just one of resilience, it's one of radical reinvention. Coaching other people, other high-achieving women, executives, and entrepreneurs, not just to bounce back, but to burn brighter. That is so amazing. And today she brings that lived experience to you and me. And her upcoming book challenges the narratives around identity, around illness, and around leadership, which amazing. And what it means to truly live on your own terms and not by everyone else's expectations, right? She's also the founder of Be Bold Executive Coaching, which is a performance-driven practice where she's guided thousands of leaders through career transitions, personal branding, and identity reclamation. You see why I'm so excited to have her here? Okay, her work has been featured in Forbes, Entrepreneur Magazine, Newsweek, US News and World, oh my God, Inc. 500, the New York Times, ABC News, and more. Adriana, I can't tell you how happy I am you're here.
Well, I'm happy to be here too. That's a very long and intimidating introduction, so hopefully I can live up to the
But
hype.
it's all true. It's all
It is
true.
all true.
It's all
Yeah.
true. Yeah. So let's go right into this. Let's talk a little bit about your story and your background and a little bit about your journey. Um, yeah, of what you've gone through and what happened.
Yeah. I mean, it's been I kind of tease a little bit, and sometimes I shouldn't, but I tease that like I pick up diseases like people pick up souvenirs on vacation. Like I just get
Wow.
more and more and more. So ironically, I think when we started talking, it was about 13, and I just did a list of them. Just of like disease categories. There's all these things you get diagnosed with, like, chronic abdominal pain, but like a disease category. And so between '06 and last week, it's actually 30 different diseases that I have.
30. So you went from 30. Okay, so just
Like
just
30, 30.
just for a moment, explain what a chronic illness is.
So, for example, I have lupus, which is a really severe autoimmune disease. I also have its sister disease, which is Sjogren's syndrome. I have hypopituitary because I have a small tumor, for lack of a better word, on the pituitary gland in my brain, non-cancerous, that caused hypothyroid and adrenal insufficiency. I have diabetes type 3C, which most people are like, that doesn't exist. I can tell you it does. And that's as a result of living without a pancreas. So I have no pancreas. I have gastroparesis, which is just a fancy way of saying a paralyzed stomach. Um, Chronic
And these
pancreatitis,
are
like,
and so chronic means always,
yeah, yeah,
constant,
yeah,
never goes away.
right. Um, and
Oh
they
my gosh.
kind of start building on each other. So, for example, I was diagnosed with hypopituitary back in 2006, and one of the treatments for the adrenal crisis component of it is steroid every day. So I take prednisone every day. I've taken it for, I don't know, 20 some years now. Um, well, that has led to osteoporosis. So I have pretty severe osteoporosis. It also just led, when I was diagnosed with lupus, they increased my prednisone. Well, the increase has now led to a eye disease called CSC, which causes recurrent temporary vision loss. That's also chronic. So every so often, my right eye will just go like I just lose my vision in my right eye, and you don't know when it's coming. So some of the
Wow.
problem is that it's the diseases, some of the treatments for some diseases cause other diseases.
Oh my gosh. And so I mean, Adriana, I'm looking at you. I look at you
Yeah.
physically, and you look like you have it all together. I mean, you look like you can be in a fitness magazine, and
Yeah.
you talk about those things, and one of the things that I tell people is, you know what? No matter how bad you've got things going on in your life, somebody out there has got it worse than you do.
Right.
And people, I mean, nobody. I mean, I certainly wouldn't think looking at you that you, oh my gosh, that you've got
Yeah.
that much going on.
It's a double-edged sword, I'll tell you that, because certainly when I'm out in a wheelchair, I still get the same looks like, what is she looks totally normal. Why is she sitting in a wheelchair?
Yeah.
Or when I park in handicap, I get a lot of stares. But I think what people don't realize is it takes a lot so that people see me instead of my diseases. I work very
Yes.
hard at that because I want people to see the intelligent and mentally strong person that I am. I don't want them to see all the diseases first, right?
Right.
It'd be a lot easier to wake up and just take a quick shower and not throw my hair up and not do the makeup and just kind of go on with my day. And I'd probably feel a little better if I slept more. But I also feel like for some reason I've been given all of these challenges, and it's part of my, I don't know, job to to share how you can overcome adversity and how important resilience is, and how what you put out there is what people see, right? So you see someone, like you said, that
Right.
like, God, you could be a fitness model, like you wouldn't know. And that's because I work hard to put that out there. I don't
And
want
you
people to see all the diseases,
and
that's,
that's a victory for you.
yeah,
That's
definitely.
that's a never ending victory for you. And that, wow, that's amazing. I mean, what a gift you are. I mean, really. And what an inspiration to the world you are to take. I mean, uh, I can already tell you you've got a bunch of superpowers, right? But one of your superpowers is your resilience and your ability to overcome and to do something with it and to
Yes.
inspire the world with it, right? You
Yeah.
know, one of the reasons why I launched this podcast was to inspire people, was to let people know that, you know what, I know life sucks. I know life is not fair. It sucks for everybody, and it's not fair for anybody,
No,
right? And it's all about what you do with it. It's all about what you do with the cards that you're dealt.
absolutely.
And look at you. So how so tell us a little bit I mean, what happened? I mean, okay, so take us on your journey, because there was a moment in time that led you to a radical decision,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Talk about, share with us what led up to that radical decision and what that decision was.
So I think probably the most radical decision happened in 2015, 2016. So I was diagnosed with chronic pancreatitis in 2015, really just out of the blue. I doubled over with a pain attack in the middle of the office. And part of the story is, you have to understand, is I chose a career instead of kids. And so my career was really my identity. So I was a chief
Sure.
digital marketing officer of a massive home security company that is a well-known brand name. And here I was, I just doubled over in pain from like taking a sip of water. Ended up at the
Oh,
hospital. They removed my gallbladder. Oh, it's definitely your gallbladder. They removed that. I'm
oh
back
no.
9 days later. Take a sip of coffee and it happens again. Back to the hospital we go. And that has just started a decade of more time than anyone would ever want to spend hospitalized, 7 feeding tubes, very aggressive surgeries. Um, and from a perspective of career, I tried to go back to work in 2016 or 2015.
Uh-huh.
And they weren't as excited to have me back as I was to be back. And I tried to convince them that like my pancreas was broken, not my brain. But
And
at
not your heart.
Right, right, yeah. And kind of the middle of 2016, it made sense to part ways. And a lot of my family and friends were like, you just need to retire. Like, you're spending all your time in the hospital. You just need to get on disability and like accept that that's your life. And thank God I have a really amazing now husband. He was a boyfriend then. And he was like, no, you need to do whatever is going to make you happy. And so I launched a digital marketing agency because I had been in digital marketing for a long time. And started building it from the hospital and from our bed. And, my laptop kind of went everywhere with me. And I really looked at my life as like, I think part of it was the struggle of, well, this is the identity I have as my career. And without that, who am I, right? Which
Mm-hmm.
is one of the reasons I work with women now, is like, you're so much more than just whatever box you've kind of created. Um, but then the kind of surgeries got more intense, the diagnoses got more severe, and thankfully the agency grew exponentially, particularly after COVID when digital was kind of the thing. And so I sold the agency in 23 and focused full time on coaching, which I had done for 25 years. And so I loved that, but unfortunately, I was continuing to get more and more sick. So I was gathering diseases. I had had a Whipple surgery, which there's kind of this funny thing they tell you in medical residency, which is eat when you can, sleep when you can, and for lack of a better term, don't fuck with the pancreas. Like that is the only three things they tell you. Like those three things.
Eat, sleep, and yeah.
Yeah, it is a
And
nasty
don't mess.
organ.
Ugh.
So in 2016, I had the Whipple. So they removed most of my pancreas, about two thirds of my stomach, most of my small intestine, my bile duct. They had already removed my gallbladder. Um, and it took about 18 months to recover. I was bedridden for about three. I was in the hospital for one. I was in a wheelchair for 9 months. I mean, I was diagnosed with PTSD in 2017, trying to recover. So it was very, very hard. And unfortunately, in my case, it did not take. And so the reason I got pancreatitis was from a birth defect called pancreatic divisum. Pancreatitis technically is known as like the alcoholic's disease. So the other
Mm.
challenge is every time you go into an emergency room and you say, "Oh, I'm having very severe abdominal pain, I have pancreatitis," they automatically think you're an alcoholic and a drug seeker. So you are hit in the face with like people that don't necessarily want to help you for your pain or your vomiting,
Oh,
because they're
oh,
thinking that you caused it
yeah,
yourself and
yeah,
you're just
yeah,
looking
yeah.
for, a drug infusion, get out of here. So you deal with all of these things that, particularly for me, I never dealt with those. I was never knock on wood, I was never a drug user and I never drank much. But I had to just start dealing with being seen as this abuser, right? And so I had
My
to deal with
gosh.
that. And so fast forward to 2019, the Whipple did not take. I was still fighting hard to live. I was about 80 pounds, which for perspective is, gosh, 20 pounds lighter than I am now, 25. So I was gray and thin and being hospitalized for malnourishment. And they decided to take the rest of my pancreas out. So I have no pancreas, and that makes you diabetic. And so they harvested islet cells, which is actually what create insulin in your body. They harvested them out of my pancreas while I was open on the table, and they transplanted them in a pocket of tissue into my liver. In my case, my liver
Wow.
developed liver disease. So it's kind of just become right, like an ongoing,
For those of you who can't see me, I've got my head in my hands.
like
I
just,
just,
yeah.
oh,
It's really
ah,
become, I try to look at it as like everyone has something, right? Like some people it's relationships, some people it's money, some people it's family or career. Clearly, what I have been blessed with in life is a really broken body, like just a really broken body. But kind of to full circle back to the message of resilience, I have always had a really strong mind. And so I've always approached it and said, like, if I have this, I'm going to find a way to turn it into something positive and fight through it.
how did you get that really strong mind? Were you born with it? Did you develop it? How did that happen?
Yeah, it's funny. When I titled the book, which it really the credit goes to my husband because he said on my left wrist here, for those who can see it, there's a tattoo of my wedding date. On my right wrist, there's no tattoo, but my husband says it says stubborn AF, and he's like, "That is why you're the most stubborn person." And as I started writing the book, I was asking my mom, like, you know, tell me some stories of me being stubborn as a kid, and she went back to like you were 17 months old and you had to pick out your own outfits. Like she was like, and my brother kind of jokes, I was like a month late coming out because I was literally bent over, like my fingers playing with my toes. So I think I've always been this stubborn person, like even in the womb.
I don't want to come
Um,
out. I don't want to come
right. Like I'll appear
out.
when I'm on my time and ready. Right. And so over time, I think I've just taken this stubborn attitude and layered in optimism and really turned it into resilience and kind of said the only thing that I have going for me is my brain. And so I am going to focus on keeping my mental health as strong as possible because it's very clear I have no control over what my physical body does or does not do, um, or when it's going to break down. So,
I might, I don't know. I'd like to make a suggestion for you.
yeah.
Um, Not just your brain, but your heart and your spirit,
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
because I mean, it shows, it shines. It really does shine. So don't forget it. You know, I spent 40 years in technology, and I've helped shepherd in 5 generations of technology, from PCs to the internet and on and on and on. And through those years, we've gotten really smart. And I coined a phrase that says we've gotten so smart, we've forgotten our heart.
Oh, yeah.
And bringing heart back in, right?
Yeah.
And you've mentioned the brain, your brain, your strong brain
Yeah.
twice. And I'll just tell you, you have an equally, if not stronger, heart and spirit.
Thank you.
And it's just wonderful. I can't believe it. I mean, it's just, I think about, everybody thinks they've got problems. Everybody thinks,
Yeah.
like I said, that life's not fair.
Yeah.
I mean, folks, put yourselves in Adriana's shoes, and not only her shoes, but her body.
Yeah.
And look at you. You're
Yeah.
you're you're just amazing. And in the world that we live in these days, resilience is so, so important. I wrote this book called American Grit, and it's about the Japanese American internment camps. And a lot of people know about it, a lot of people don't, right? That happened during World War II. But the story is about men who volunteered, who were thrown into these camps with their families for no other reason than their Japanese ancestry.
Yeah.
And they volunteered to fight for the United States Army, which was the same army that put them in those camps to begin with, and kept their families while they went off to war. And they went on to become the most decorated war unit in the history of the United States for its size and duration. That's grit.
Yes.
That's grit.
Yeah.
I mean that, and to me, grit is a level above resilience. You've got grit, right?
Yeah.
And and it's I how do you build that muscle, right? I like to use the analogy of building a muscle,
Yeah.
right? How do you build that resilience? For folks out there who may not have the self-esteem or the courage to just keep going, right? Don't give up.
Yeah.
How do you build that?
I think it's a really great question. A lot of what you said just has so much meaning. The way I organized the book is around 13 certain truths that I believe. And so each truth is a chapter. So there's 13 chapters. And the chapters start with kind of a description and then 3 or 4 stories of how it's worked in my life. And then it goes into the five big myths about that thought, that truth, and then how to make it work for
Oh,
you. And it ends with a glimmer moment, which is like, a moment of how it shows up in a beautiful way. And the first chapter is about resilience.
oh,
It's that, resilience is really one of those muscles that you do have to build up. And for me, it's been the more things I get hit with, which in my case are, diagnoses, the stronger I get. It's almost like the more stubborn and more difficult. I'm like, you are
the
not going
more
to
you
get
dig in.
right.
Yeah.
Like just the harder I fight. But there is this kind of, to your point about heart, the second chapter is called Love Fuels Everything. That's the second truth. So,
Oh, I love that.
yeah, there's a balance of that grit and resilience that has to go with tapping into your heart and tapping into how love fuels your life and everything else. And without sharing all the 13 truths, there's also a big component around grace and around gratitude.
Oh my gosh. Oh
I
my gosh.
remember, I think this was like maybe 20 some years ago when Oprah was still on TV doing her show. And she said something along the lines of the more grateful you are, the more things you'll have to be grateful for. And I always think that, right? Like, to what you said, if you think you're facing a lot, imagine looking at this. I try to think of it the same way. Like you
Yeah.
and I shared,
Yeah.
I live in Miami for health reasons. We had to move me down here for care. and my husband's work is out of Indianapolis. So I could have looked at it and said, we're not going to be able to spend time together as much. I'm going to have to live in a separate area and gone on, right? But I
Oh, this
looked at
sucks. That just
yeah,
sucks.
like
Why
this
is this
is
happening to us?
terrible. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
looked at it and said, okay, well, when they came to us and said, you have to relocate somewhere that you are within 15 minutes of an acute care system that can handle you, my husband's only responses were, where do we go and how fast do we need to go? And I try to remain grateful, not just that I have a super supportive husband and best friend in him, but also that his job has amazing health care that has coverage down here and that I have health benefits and that I was in the capacity to be able to continue to coach clients remotely so it didn't matter if we were in Miami or Indiana. There are a lot of things to still be grateful for. So, yes, I could have complained about it, but I try to look at it and say, okay, well, what in this scenario can I be grateful for?
That is amazing. I mean, you talk about resilience and love and grace. I mean, welcome to the Finding Better podcast. I mean, it life, we make life so complicated. And by the
Yeah.
way, when is your book coming out?
I'm hoping in the fall. I'm
In the
currently
fall?
pitching to
Okay.
literary agents. So if I don't get picked up by an agent, then I'll self-publish it in the fall.
Oh my gosh. Yes, please do. Please do. Because I can already tell that, you know, I, I, I don't, this podcast, and I'm proud to say that, we're not here to sell books. We're not here to sell seminars. We're here to talk about the value. We're here for people to learn. What and every episode, people can walk away with something that they can apply to their lives, right?
Yeah.
I will honestly say your book that's coming up is a first book that I will say I'm going to buy, I'm going to read, and if it's good as I think it's going to be, I am going to promote because wow, wow, and I mean, what a light you are. What a light you are. And you know what? The fact of the matter is, and this is no offense to you, there are people out there who have worse lives than you do,
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But the thing is it's not, they say it's not that bad things are going to happen. It's all about how you react to them.
Yeah, they're gonna happen for sure.
Yeah,
Like
bad,
everyone's gonna have their bad things happen, but it is
really
how
bad things
we
happen. Yeah.
respond. Yeah. Yeah.
And looking at you and talking with you, you've grown gotten promoted from 13 chronic diseases to 30.
Yes.
How's that?
A
How's that
lovely
for?
promotion I would be happy to not have. But
Yeah,
yes.
that's right.
Yes.
I don't mean to make light of it, but
It's
I
okay.
mean,
I do it
you
all the
can,
time.
yeah, you can, yeah, right, right, and that is amazing, and the idea of that gratitude and that love. I have said throughout my life, it's all about love. It's all
Yes.
about love.
Yes. Yeah.
And life, we make life so freaking complicated,
And
and
hard.
we live our lives based on other people's expectations and not bring it back to ourselves. And and the last thing, and I'll shut up, and because I want you to talk. I tell people happiness is not out there. Happiness is not out there. It's right here. Exactly. It's
Yeah.
right here in you. And so I mean you are I mean you just live that. You just live that.
Really do try to live that. And I have to say I am eternally grateful and blessed that I have a best friend and husband that is not just supportive, but is the most amazing kind of cheerleader and love of my life. I mean, he's just fantastic. He is the best support system.
Would you
And
say the same thing about you?
he would, yeah.
Well, there you go.
He would. And
There you go.
I believe that because I was talking to someone recently, just as an
Folks,
aside.
there's a hint in there. There's a hint in there about relationships. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. It's that's what it is like this person was saying how they were, not getting along with their significant other. And I happen to know the person really well, and this person refers to their significant other as a not so nice term. And I said,
Mm.
do you know what Eric, my husband's name is Eric. I said, do you know what Eric's name is in my phone, like my contacts? She said, no. And I said, it's my love. Like if I'm sending him a message or I'm calling, it's my love. That's what I send it to.
Oh,
And I said, maybe if you changed how you are to your husband, and instead of calling him this derogatory term, what if you just try for 30 days? Just be sweet and kind for 30 days. Just make an experiment. See what he responds. See what happens. Because to your point, John, like happiness comes from within. If you're not happy, no one else is going to make you happy, right?
yeah, that's right.
If you are, I believe that you start to attract that to you, right?
You
So
definitely do.
you start giving out love, you'll get love back.
There's no question about it. One of my dear, dear friends, her name is Kim Sorrell, and she wrote a book called Love Is. And one of the stories we talked about on my podcast was how, relationships are not always two-way. A lot of times they're one way. And I
Yeah.
said, "What do you mean by that?" She says, if things are going wrong, start with you.
Yes.
Start with you and start with your expectations,
Yeah.
right? And 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 present the love back. And she says, and it's amazing when you stop trying to change the other person and you start looking at you and start happiness is not out there, it's right
Right.
here, right? You look at you and you start with your own love. She says, it's a miracle. It's amazing how that happens. And the story that you just shared was just a perfect example of it. One of the things that you talk about is that reinvention doesn't have to require a crisis in your life,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And but for a lot of us, and this is something really interesting that I found, you say that for a lot of us, that's what finally gives us permission,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So we're living, which implies that we're living our lives waiting for permission to do something,
Absolutely. Yeah. Many of
right?
us.
So talk about that and talk about how people, especially high achievers, they wait until they're burned out. I mean, it sounds
Yeah.
like they're almost in denial. I know I was,
Yeah.
right? There were times when I was in denial, and it wasn't until I landed in the hospital with acute pneumonia on Christmas Eve one year, quarantined from my wife and family, that woke me up,
Yeah. Well, I think
right?
it's because we're particularly high achievers tend to be heads down and focused, right? Whether it's an Olympic athlete, a professional sports person, a
Right.
business executive, an author, whatever you're, or a parent, right? Whatever you're doing,
Hmm.
you're focused
High
on being
achieving parents. That's right.
right. Yeah. Like
That's right.
your whole world is wrapped up in that, right? And the challenge is you forget about you until, to your point, something happens and you have to think about you. You're in the
Right.
hospital quarantined on Christmas Eve from your family because you've run yourself into the ground, or your
Exactly.
kids come up and say, "Mommy, why do you cry all the time?" Because your relationship at home is so bad and you're not focused on that. You're always trying to parent or work, right? We don't really look inward until we're forced to.
Yeah.
And I'm no different by any means. Like I didn't look inward until I got to the point where I was like, there is something to be said about I can't control what's going on with my body, but what I can control is what's going on with my mind, and I can continue to fight. And so I had to get to the point where I lost my corporate career and chose not to go back before I was like, I physically can't work the 80-hour work weeks anymore. I physically can't do it,
Right.
and pivot my brain to, but that doesn't mean I can't be successful professionally. I have to find a new way to do this that works within the capacity and capability that my physical body has. And for some reason, other people will be like, okay, well, I have to still give it my all. I have to do this. Yes, but you know what? Maybe your mind only has this much capacity. So figure out a way to get that achievement done within what you have. because that's where your happiness will come from, right? It's not fighting yourself. It's allowing a river to flow instead of trying to push it.
It's not fighting yourself, it's allowing yourself,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And giving
Yeah.
yourself that permission. Oh my gosh, there is so much wrapped into what you just said. And I keep thinking of stuff and then it gets replaced with other stuff, so I don't remember any of it. And so, but it is so true. And what a gift! What a gift you're giving us. And what I mean by that is, folks, don't wait for a crisis. You can do something about this now. Adriana, having been in industry for 4 decades, one of the things, when we do surveys with the employees and stuff like that, one of the things that people would said that they want more of is work-life balance.
Always, yes.
Okay, right?
Yeah.
But I think one of the messages that you and I are trying to impart here is that work-life balance is not the company's responsibility.
Nope.
It's
It's,
yours,
mhm.
right? It's in here. It's in here. So stop using this thing for a moment. Disengage your brain. Check your heart.
Yeah.
Again, happiness is right here. Happiness is inside you. It's not out there with the company. It's not out there with what the company gives you or doesn't give you, that whole
Right.
work-life balance piece of it. So I feel like the gift that you're giving when you say reinvention doesn't require a crisis is you are giving the gift of not having to suffer through acute pneumonia on Christmas Eve.
Right. Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
wait for that to happen,
Right.
right? I mean, sit back, take a breath. Take a
And a lot of
breath.
things, just think about how much more enjoyable your life will be and how much more enjoyable everyone around you will appreciate
Yes.
doing that.
Yes.
I think,
Yeah.
my husband is a fellow workaholic. It's one of the things we have in common. We both, I don't know about workaholic, we both just love our careers. And so, um, for us, we don't call it work-life balance. It's just life balance.
It's
It's
yeah,
just
exactly.
because it's all
Exactly.
different components of our life. It's just
There you
life.
go. Right now as we speak, I retired 3 years ago, and I finished that book, which took the American Grit, which took me 15 years to write. And I decided to enjoy my life, which has been, and this podcast has been the joy of my life,
That's awesome.
because I've met people like you, and I'm helping to bring your spirit, your heart, your message to the world, and it's just wonderful that way. I am at this moment considering coming out of retirement and
Okay.
going back to work for a startup in artificial intelligence. And I keep telling my wife, I can't believe I'm doing this. And she's told me a couple of times, it's not that you're going back to work. You're just working in your retirement.
Right.
That's something that you love to do.
Yeah.
And she's right. She's right. I mean, I love being retired. But having the opportunity to work for this little startup and I've done some consulting work with them, has become another joy of my life.
Well,
And so,
and
yeah,
that's what it is. It's a part of your personality that has been there for 40 years. And then you step away from it, right? And you're like, okay, well, okay, now I have this podcast or I have time with my grandkids or whatever it is. But that doesn't mean you can't go back into something else because that's something that
right,
you loved
right.
for 40 years, right? Like, of
Yeah,
course, it's
exactly.
exciting. And maybe you don't want to do it 60 hours a week, but that doesn't mean you don't want to put your energy forth into it and keep doing something
Yeah.
you enjoy doing.
And what you said about you and your husband not looking at it as work-life balance, but life-life balance,
Yeah,
right? It's about your choices. It's about
yeah,
your decisions that you make.
yeah.
And in my case, with what I'm doing right now, it's not work life that I'm trying to figure out. It's life I'm
Yeah.
trying to figure out. And it's a really wonderful place to be. It's really wonderful. So folks, I pray that you really, really listen and take to heart and internalize some of the things we're talking about, so you don't get to a point of a crisis
Yeah.
that forces you to make the changes in your life.
Yeah.
That is amazing. Another thing that I wanted to get your comments on. You you've said that leadership without authenticity is just performance.
Yeah, for sure.
And and how has your experience and your experiences, your health, your career pivots, uh, heartbreak, right? How has that influenced your style of leadership and what you teach people about leadership?
So I have always been just a very direct and transparent person. I came out that way.
Yeah, you
And
don't have any filters. I get
yeah, I
it.
have no
Yeah.
filter. And thank
And
God
and
for
you're beautiful
Botox
that way,
because
by the
my
way.
face
Yeah.
will tell you what I'm thinking way before my mouth. Um, so I have always been someone that was very driven. And I learned in probably 2010-ish, when I was an executive at a Fortune 500 retailer leading a digital team, that the most important thing were relationships. And so, regardless of what I do in life, if I have a choice between investing in a relationship or going to do something else, I'm always going to pick the relationship. And I think it's just as important that as a leader, you show who you are as an authentic person. So, for example, my team, this was back when Black Friday was like a big thing. Everyone went to the stores at 4 a.m. and all of that. So, my team was on 24/7 through the holiday, right? Well, sure, as a VP, I can stay home and have Thanksgiving dinner. I can do whatever I don't have to be there. But if my whole team's going to be there, you better darn believe I packed up a whole Thanksgiving dinner and brought it in and sat down and worked with them. Because to me, it was about not just telling them I appreciate them, but showing them I'm here with you. If something goes wrong, I'm right next to you. And it's that type of approach to relationships in your whole life. As a leader, you are as a human, right? Not just as a leader at business, but who you are as an authentic person. Those relationships are what come back and fuel that happiness and fuel your strength and your desire and your energy. Or they are what drain you and take it all away, right? So it's not just a matter of investing in those relationships, but investing in the ones that add value to your life.
I'm buying your book. In fact, I want the manuscript for the
First
book so
copy
I can
sold.
read it and promote it before it comes out. I mean, gosh, it's that's just amazing. It is all about it's all about, like I said, we keep coming back to it. It's all about love,
Yeah,
right? And uh, one of my favorite sayings, adages, whatever they call it, is your actions are speaking so loudly I can't hear a word you're saying,
yes, yes.
right?
So true.
And when you're leading people are words are easy, but
Yeah,
it's in the actions that your leadership shows through,
absolutely.
and
Yeah.
how you treat people, and how you take care of them, and uh, and yeah, life it can be so simple, right? It
It
can
can.
be so
We tend to
simple.
we tend to complicate it a little
We
bit because
oh
we're
my
complex
gosh,
people. We like to make things messy, but yes, it
yeah,
can be really simple at times.
we've gotten so smart we've forgotten our heart.
Right?
I have uh, I, I believe that artificial intelligence is going to take over the world in more ways than 99% of people are thinking that it will.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
And there's going to come a point in time, and it may be 10 years, that our world is going to be completely unrecognizable to what it is today.
Yeah,
And technology is going to get us there. And once we get there, it's going to be great, assuming we survive it.
right.
It's going to be wonderful. The challenge is going to be getting from here to there.
Yeah,
however many years it takes us to get to that point, because our world is going to change so, so fast,
It's
faster
so
than anything,
yes,
faster than anything we've ever experienced, and faster than anything we can imagine.
I agree.
And so I'm actually putting together a what's called a Finding Better University.
Okay.
And it's all about the human factor. It's all about because that's what we're going to have left is our
Yes,
humanity. It's going to
absolutely.
be about our relationships. It's going to be about emotional intelligence. It's going to be about teaching people morals and ethics and getting along, you
Right.
know? And that's what we're going to have left. And the resilience, everything that you talked about, everything that you shared with us, not only is so so relevant to the world we're going to, in my view, but so relevant to the transition process that we're going to go through.
Yes.
The resilience, the grit, the gratitude, the
Hmm.
love, all those things.
Yeah.
And it's you're just so amazing. You're just so amazing. Um, is there anything else you want to talk about? Because I love everything you say.
No, I think the last thing I would say is if you're ever wondering what to do, give yourself or the other person grace. I think in the book I talk about throwing grace around like it's confetti. Like you can never give too much grace to other people. And like you said when we first started today, you never know what someone else is going through.
That's
And
right.
so whether it's you got ghosted in an interview or a date or you're in a fight with your best friend or your sibling or whatever, give the other person grace because a lot of times it has nothing to do with you. It has entirely to do with what's going on in their world.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And somehow we're conditioned to think that anything bad that happens is happening to you,
Yes.
right? Or anything bad that's said is being said about you. And when you give when you give grace, I will tell you that it is really hard to do for the first time.
Yeah.
But the more you do it, the easier it gets. And it's amazing what happens because you start seeing grace coming back to you. It
Exactly.
just happens that way.
Yeah.
And I'll end this with one thing that we're not going to talk a whole lot about, but is equally it is absolutely life changing. In fact, a really good friend of mine said that what I'm about to tell you is a greater miracle than the parting of the Red Sea.
Okay.
And he said that forgiveness,
Yeah.
forgiveness. Learn to forgive others, learn to forgive yourself. Start small. Start small. You don't have to boil the earth. But you know that and when you forgive other people, you don't have to tell them. Just
No,
forgive them in your heart. Just forgive
because
them in your heart.
forgiveness
And
is a gift to you, not necessarily them, right? I
you're
mean,
absolutely right.
you're the one that's carrying around the upset, the anger, the guilt, the whatever, not them. They don't know you're carrying it for them. So forgiveness is really a self gift that you give yourself to be able to move on in a healthy and positive way. And I think people think it's about giving it to someone else.
Exactly.
And it's
Exactly.
really not. It's about giving yourself the gift of forgiveness.
Right. And we've all seen and maybe experienced and heard of stories where something big upset happened. And years later, the two people talk about it, and the one who was carrying it and just so angry about what the other person did says, "You know what you did 20 years ago? That really set me off." And the other person says, "I did what?
I have no idea what you're
I
talking
have no
about.
idea what you're talking about." Right? And
Yeah,
yet this person has been carrying it for 20 years or whatever, right? It's just, when you forgive somebody, you're just taking that burden that you're carrying and you're just saying, "Here, I'm going to give it back to you.
right.
This is
Yeah.
not mine to carry. This is
Yeah.
yours. I'm done with it." So yeah, Adriana, this has been amazing.
It
This has
has.
been
Thank you.
amazing. You are a beautiful, amazing, just crazy cool person.
Thank you.
And thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing your gifts and your life and helping people with the experiences that you've been through.
I always say if
Um,
I can help one person, happy to do it. If
yeah,
one
no, I
person is
swear to God,
happy,
we
that's
are
it.
like totally connected. I mean, there's something here because I told my daughter who told me to ask me to do this podcast. I said, you know what? If I can lift one person, if I can reach one person,
Yeah,
you lift one person, you lift the world.
that's right. It's one person at
And
a time.
it's
It's
one
one
person at
chance
a
at a time.
time. And there's so much we can do with our hearts
Yeah. Yep.
that will not only help us, oh my gosh, live better lives, but help the world too by
Yeah.
by shining your spirit, shining you, and bringing you back into the world. So I know, oh my God, how mushy did that sound? But I believe that to the core of my being. I really do.
Mushy can be okay. It can be a good thing.
Right, right. So with that, Adriana, I've got your information in the notes, but in terms of people who might want to reach out to you, give you a virtual hug, learn from you, whatever, how best for them to do that?
LinkedIn is a very good way. I am the
Okay,
only Brianna Cowdin you will find. So that kudos to,
perfect.
a unique name for that. And then you can go to audrianacowdin.com and it's currently under revision. It should be relaunched in the next week or so and find all
Wonderful.
kinds of things about how to connect with me and how to work together and when the book is coming out and all that kind of good stuff there.
Wonderful. And folks, Cowdin, for those of you who are listening and not watching, is Cowdin.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can go to audrianacowdin.com or you can go to Cowdin on LinkedIn. Audriana, thank you for joining me today. Thank you for sharing everything with my audience. I love you. God bless you. If there's anything I can do to help, please reach out to me. You got my contact information. I feel like we're going to be friends for a long, long time.
I do too. This has been wonderful, John. Thank you so much for having me. And again, I know it was hard to schedule because I had some medical issues come up. Now you probably
Well, now,
understand
yeah,
better.
I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel so bad.
No, no, no. I always feel bad rescheduling things, and I'm like, if they only knew what I was dealing with.
Yeah,
Now you
no,
have a better understanding for why sometimes I
perfect.
have to reschedule. But I'm very happy that I was able to be here today, and I'm so grateful that we made the time.
It's been my honor. It's been my honor. Folks, please share this. Share this. The world needs to hear Adriana's messages. And please share this. And yeah, yeah. So with that, all you out there, I love you. God bless you. Thank you for joining us. Um, keep going. Keep going. It's all good. See you next time. Bye.